It's a topic that encounters everyone and everything. Everyone is afraid of death.
Huh.
You won't believe how many cartoons touch this topic. Like, it's so widely discussed or seen in cartoons to the point that you will see unexpected cartoons that approach this topic. Who is here? Jude is here. Starting off with Batman the Animated Series. This show is one of the shows that takes the death topic as a general part of it, and this show feels more than an animated show with a dark theme. It's literally Batman with all his darkness made into a cartoon. One of the impactful deaths in the show was in the episode Robin's Day Reckoning. Why it was impactful? Because it is the death of Robin's parents, and he's one of the protagonists of this show. And yeah, it was a legit murder in a cartoon show. But this isn't the only time that Robin was in the same universe where death exists.
He is too attractive for this to not follow him.
In Teen Titans, there's a significant death that really changes the whole course of the story. Diana, one of the big antagonists to Teen Titans in this show, had one of the saddest deaths in the series, where she changed her mind and turned on Slade, while sacrificing herself too, just to save Teen Titans and the whole world, becoming a hero one last time. You see, these types of shows that focus on crimes a lot had death as one of the many elements that makes these shows what they are. Then they threw all of that in garbage with Teen Titans Go. There are other types of cartoons that featured a lot of deaths, but it wasn't a main theme in it, more like it's an important event happening in it, and you will feel how powerful the death event is in the episodes that features it, like Adventure Time. It had many deaths, but we all can agree that the biggest deaths were in the Distant Land special Together Again. Why it was the biggest death? Well, maybe because they hit you with this. Ouch. You see, the main characters, the ones that made us love this show, the ones that all this show was about, Finn and Jake, died. This episode had so many emotions. Finn lived a full life, but he missed his best friend Jake, who passed away before him. We see moments in this episode we always wanted to see, like Finn meeting his parents again after all these years. We see the show's ideas of death, with reincarnations and 50 levels of death. It's different from the real life, but that's a cartoon, not real life.
So your cartoon girlfriend is not real.
Was the idea of seeing all these characters that we were used to just died. They all lived their life and things went on its intended cycle. It was a tear-dropping of an episode. Finn and Jake had their last adventure even in the dead world, and they are together always. You see, that's giving this its importance. Regular Show is another example of these shows. This show had many deaths, but its most important one was in the last episode. It had a big sacrifice that changed the whole course of the events in the future. Instead of resetting time and playing with the universe, Bob sacrificed himself to prevent that and end things once and for all, and he was honored. So these are cartoons that had many deaths but still maintained its value. But there are cartoons that were violent but rarely touched the death topic, which is a very weird case of death in cartoons. Example of that would be Powerpuff Girls in the episode Twisted Sister. You know, back in the day where the show wasn't garbage, the show had fights and violence, but it also featured death, and its saddest one was with their sister Bonnie, the one which they created. She was unstable and had so many issues, but at the moment she did something right, she saved her sisters, and then she died. You know what makes it sadder? The show narrator crying over her like if it was a funeral.
I'm not crying, I don't care. You are crying.
Other example of rare deaths in violent cartoons was with Tom and Jerry. Now, Tom and Jerry and Looney Tunes had so many hidden things about death, but when they touched this topic directly, it was dark. I'm not talking about Blue Cat Blues, I'm talking about Heavenly Post. In this episode, Tom literally dies. He goes to the judge of heaven and he tells him, "You like Ben 10 reboot? You should go to hell." But he gives him a chance to redeem himself, and to make Jerry forgive him by letting him sign a paper. But of course, Jerry is a jerk, so he doesn't give Tom his heaven, and he lets him go to hell. But wicked shaky Shakira, it was all a dream.
Yeah, I also did my crowds that way.
A cartoon showcasing hell, heaven, and death. Yeah, you can really tell they had standards back then. Isn't Danny Phantom considered half dead? I mean, he's a half ghost. I don't know, it's so confusing. Courage is one of the most unique shows that aired on Cartoon Network. Everyone said it gives them trauma when they were kids, and it was so scary for them. To me, it was a very funny show.
Chicken.
It had death, but rarely it was that much shown. However, in the episode The Shadow of Courage, it shows us that an old wealthy man dies, and his shadow leaves his body. And we see how this shadow kept messing with Courage and his family. We even got a reference to head cutting in it.
Fatality.
They went all in making an episode of featuring deaths in the show. But what if a cartoon that's not familiar with the topic took a risky move and approached it? Well, we kinda can say that happened in the amazing world of Gumball. In the episode Halloween, when Gumball, Darwin, and Anais went to a ghost party with Karen, they drank from a magic bottle that eventually turned them into ghosts. Their soul left their body, and you know what that means? What pointed out the idea of their death is that they almost got trapped as souls forever, and they almost couldn't get back to their bodies. But hey, they risked it safely, which is the same case with SpongeBob. in the episode Nasty Patio, but this was riskier than Gumball. SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs accidentally killed the health inspector and they acted completely like murderers. We see them trying to cover up to their crimes that they didn't commit, but also they killed the guy multiple times but he refused to die.
For the love of God, please just die!
Also in Rugrats, we got a glimpse of the death idea in Angelica's worst nightmare episode. You see, she is gonna be the bigger sister now, but the way they drew her nightmares is just perfect, because now every kid is gonna get a nightmare after watching this. And we saw Angelica getting eaten by the new baby, but of course this didn't happen, you silly viewer. How about Fairly Odd Parents? In the episode It's a Wishful Life, Tim wished he was never born. Now where's the death in it? Well, the fact that he can go to hell shows the idea that he's kinda dead, and this is the main thing in these types of cartoons. They are not as violent as others, but they touch the death topic in a way or other, mostly by showing that it didn't actually happen, which is the case with Tiny Toons Adventures and one of the most controversial episodes in cartoons history, the One Beer. So the episode had Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck and Porky Pig as babies drinking beer and getting drunk,
That's good parenting right there.
and they got chased by the cops because they also stole a car. Yeah, this was GTA before GTA, and they ended up falling, crashing and dying, and they went to heaven.
I hope the kids got the message.
Yeah, if you drink beer, you go to heaven.
I don't know what they were saying when they made this episode. Even the they didn't actually die couldn't save them from the terrible situations they put themselves in. But there are characters that you will never expect that they approach the death topic, but they indeed approached it. In Alvin the Chipmunks Cookie Chamber, the third episode, we see the Chipmunks getting a new pet cat that they found in their house. And this episode was adorable at first, but then it took a dark tone when the pet that was cute and adorable died in an accident. And they tell you he died. We see three different reactions to death. First, disbelief, second, anger, and third, the grief. And in the end, they all end up being disappointed in themselves and blaming themselves for the death of Cookie Chamber III. This episode is one of the best examples about death in cartoons, as it teaches you about death that it's not your fault, it is something in our lives that happens, and that's a very good way to approach it. But hey, you know what I think when I see this word? Yeah, that's right, My Little Pony friendship is magic. What does happen in it, you say?
My eyes.
In episode 2 of season 9,
Yeah, that 9 season and you ask for fairness in life.
Little Ponies defeat King Sombra and King Sombra vanishes, which means he died. Yeah, even My Little Pony encountered it. But there are also shows that made death a joke, like Family Guy, The Simpsons, and Rick and Morty. How many deaths happen in this series? They got death to be a character in it, and he's a joke, but even these shows had a part where death was important. Example is Futurama. Futurama is a very good show, and in one episode Fry met a dog and he named him Seymour. Of course, because Fry went 1,000 years in the future by accident, he left Seymour, and when they found Seymour old body in the future, Fry tried to make Seymour live again with the advanced technology, and they almost did that until Fry changed his mind when he knew that Seymour lived a full life. He thought that Seymour forgot about him, but reality is that Seymour actually was the one who cared about Fry the most. He waited for him for 12 years until he got that one final rest. This is a sad approach to this. Also, Family Guy got serious with the death topic for once, and Brian died in the episode Life of Brian. This episode made us feel that this time Brian is finished for good. No more Brian in this show, which might have made the audience angry and sad. So they changed their mind about 2 episodes later. You see, even shows like Family Guy have important deaths, and that also applies to The Simpsons when Ned Flanders' wife, Maud, died. He died in a very silly way, but Ned's sadness and grief made it so sad. Rick and Morty, a show with countless deaths, have an important death, and they are Rick's wife and daughter. But there are shows that completely made death as a joke, like Happy Tree Friends. This happen every day in it. Like, I died once a day, I died 5 times a day. I'm better.
So these are the ways that have been approached in cartoons. Let me know your thoughts about it, guys, and until next time, see ya guys.
You can do the music now. Dun, 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 dun.